Ron Harris here from MuscularDevelopment.com, coverage of the 2021 Olympia weekend in Orlando, brought to you by High-Tech Pharmaceuticals. Here, of course, with Milos Sarcev, no stranger to the Mr. Olympia stage himself. How many Mr. Olympias did you compete in, Milos?
I competed in 7. I qualified for 10. And I like to brag about this. I qualified for all 10 in the 1990s, and that's only Vince Taylor and Sean Ray did it back in the day. Nobody else. If you check that, yeah, I just chose to pass 95 and 96, even though I was qualified, because of a trend that they were just going for these mass monsters, like we're going to talk today about today's trend. And then in 2000, I actually didn't get the health clearance. So yeah, that was a bummer because I really wanted to do it. I was in shape.
All right. Well, you just said mass monster. Let's start the conversation with Big Ramy, the mass monster. I was not at the press conference, but I did see some highlights. He stepped on a scale. Granted, he had a suit and shoes on, but 303 pounds.
Yes.
A lot of people immediately started saying, uh-oh, that's too heavy for Ramy. He was 289 last year when he won. So what do you think's going on with Ramy?
Yeah, I think he said that he was 290, and then, when you have a shoes and suit and a microphone and everything else, so that adds up. But listen, we saw Big Ramy since he turned pro as a Big Ramy. That's why he got that nickname. And we were always hoping that he's going to come down and be shredded, and he finally made it last year. So they have a formula. There is no way they're going to stray away from this kind of formula. I think that he's going to be just as conditioned or maybe even more. He doesn't need a size. Why would you put another pound on that frame? Because you already out-muscled anybody on the stage. It's going to be interesting to see how Nick Walker stands next to him, because he is a freak. But width that Ramy brings on stage, nobody else can match.
So Breon Ansley, not Breon, I'm getting messed up because this guy talking. Brandon Curry, the 2019 Mr. Olympia, he tried to put on a little bit more size. He looks bigger to me in the pictures he's been posting, the videos he's been posting. Do you think that was the right strategy, get bigger and play Ramy's game?
Not necessarily, because he's symmetrical, he is aesthetic, and if he's conditioned, he has something to look forward to and beat maybe Ramy in this aesthetic department. But Brandon's legs were down, if you remember, and especially next to somebody like Ramy that has one leg like your two, that's going to be a problem. So Brandon, for me, is the most aesthetic guy in the top 5. If he comes conditioned, that's his forte, and that's where he can capitalize on. But then let's not forget that Hadi Choopan placed second on every judge scoring sheet in the finals. He was penalized a little bit at the prejudging. He came 2 days before the show holding the water a little bit, and it was not just this crisp and sharp Hadi Choopan that we know of. So by the finals, one extra day he dropped the water, and all of a sudden he was a straight second place. And speaking of that, who is the biggest favorite? Of course, favorite it's Big Ramy, because let's say Big Ramy got straight first place, prejudging and finals. So that's your guide, to look forward, to what he brings on the stage. We saw Ramy. 2017, I remember first time I came back to the States and I see Ramy next to Phil Heath, and I say, if this guy puts it together, he had a structure and width and size to beat Phil Heath. Finally, he delivered 2020, 3 years later, but it's never too late for Mr. Olympia title.
So a lot of people are talking about Hadi, because people are saying, Hadi does have things that Ramy doesn't have. He gets into better condition. He has more detail, more muscle maturity. He is probably about a half a foot shorter and 50 pounds lighter, 60 pounds lighter. Can someone, we talk about a good big man always beats a good smaller man. Could Hadi Choopan win this Olympia?
Yes, I definitely think so, because you can see that this is 212-pound firmer competitor, because even when he stood next to Cedric McMillan at the San Marino show, he was 212 next to Cedric. There's many people that believe he won that show. When he won in Vancouver, he was 212. Remember, last 2019, they were debating, is he going to compete in 212 or open? He was so confident that he has the goods to deliver and be challenging the best guys. For me, Hadi Choopan won 2019 Olympia if I was a judge, and you nailed it. You said that detail. Ramy doesn't have this cross-threaded pecs like Hadi does. Hadi has the deep quad separations. I've seen that one video of Hadi posing in front of a palm tree somewhere in probably Hani's house, and I thought that maybe his legs were down. But today, when I saw him, walking on the stage, he looks powerful because that's his ticket. If he has those, wheels that he can beat Brandon Curry, and you remember, Boniak had those legs, and then he kind of lost them, and then if in direct comparison, he can take over, but. Let's talk about Boniak. Yeah. Boniak, I think he's so confident he beat Rami many times before, and he sees himself in the best shape ever, best condition he's ever been. He believes he can take it, and on just that mere muscle maturity quality, the dense muscle, thick muscle. I mean, from a side, that chest, shoulders, arms, that look crazy. Back double biceps is off the chart, but he has a little narrow structure. So narrow structure standing next, let's say in between Big Ramy and Nick Walker, twice as wide as he is, that might be a problem.
Let's talk about Nick Walker because he's never stood on an Olympia stage.
Yeah.
He just turned 27. He's still a youngster in this sport, but he just won the Arnold Classic. He beat a lot of the guys who he had never stood next to before. He's never stood next to Ramy, Bonac, Hadi Choopan, Brandon Curry. Could he beat some of these guys?
Yeah, when he was going into the Arnold Classic, neither you or I believed that he could have, make that kind of impact. I really didn't see him as aesthetically pleasing as was sufficient to win Ifbb Pro Show. He was a shorter structure. I thought, maybe legs would not be that pretty legs. He has a kind of long torso, short legs. But let me tell you, the second, which we both noticed, he put the foot on the stage, he did that front relaxed pose. I think he won right there. Like back in the day, what Lee Haney did when he turns around in initial impact, the show was over. So Nick Walker has these crazy arms. I mean, when he lifts the arms, I don't think he can be matched. Then he has a back double biceps pose that is a stellar pose. He has a good side chest, side triceps. He has a good muscular, deep abs. So when you look at him, I mean, he has really no weaknesses. It's just like, do you like his physique or not? I think that in the striation department, when he stands next to Hadi Choopan in the most muscular pose, Hadi is going to beat him on that detail. But again, there's, as you've seen, too much muscle and in great condition. And it looked like today when he took his shirt off that he is spot on. So he's going to definitely be first call out. I can't even imagine him being anything out of great condition. Matt Jansen he has that formula. So conditioned, this big, this wide, with no weaknesses, even if he's not super aesthetically pleasing, he can be a factor. He can even win the show.
So it's going to be a very, very tough top five. Anybody you think we haven't mentioned has a really good chance of cracking that top five?
Well, Akeem Williams, we were thinking of him going into the Arnold Classic. He would be first favorite, and he just didn't bring the condition. What would happen if he brings the condition? That's a good question. So Akeem Williams could be a factor to sneak in there. Justin Rodriguez, I really like his physique, and his upper body is so powerful, aesthetic, deep muscle, crazy arms, crazy back. Okay, what I noticed, and this is a criticism that I would say, he did not control the legs. And when you don't control the legs, and that's frontal legs, front double biceps, front lat spread, too many poses, it's a half of the body that you're missing, and therefore some people can squeak in. Jan Valier winning the two shows and being second in the Arnold Classic is obviously a favorite. He can be also contending for top six. Hunter Labrada. Hunter Labrada, I mean, I talked to him today, and I didn't want to say this publicly, but I would say this, okay? Lee would beat Hunter in the bodybuilding show. I know that even Lee wouldn't want me to say that, but why would he beat him? Because of that crazy conditioning that he was bringing. So if Hunter Labrada comes super shredded, super dry, he's complete. He has that Lee Labrada aesthetics, maybe not exactly, but he has 40 pounds or plus more muscle. So he has shredded glutes. He can be a major factor. We still haven't seen Hunter Labrada peak for the contest perfectly. If he does, watch out.
Yeah. Let's talk about 212. Giant Killer Sean Cleary just walked by us about 5-10 minutes ago. He's the reigning champ, but this is going to be a very, very tough 212. Derek Lunsford looking great, looking enormous. Kamal El-Garni, the 2019 champion, wants that title back. He got bigger. And Keon Pearson, this will be his first time on the 212 Olympia stage. Still a young guy, but what a phenomenal physique. What do you think with those? That's my top four in no particular order.
Yeah, I would pretty much agree with you because for me, last year contest was between Kamal and Sean Clarida. For me, there was no question. Sean Clarida was so impressive, like Ronnie Coleman, like when he stood on that stage, just like, round muscle bellies, granite condition, stage presence was good, the confidence was there. He was hitting the poses right. And he out-conditioned Mr. Condition, Kamal. So Kamal at the press conference said that he's even shocking himself with a new detail at the age of 50 that he's getting. Wow. Yeah, that's what he said, that he's seen the cuts that he's never seen before. And he's very confident that his aesthetics could beat Sean Clarida. Yeah, he is wider. He has many of those aesthetic poses that he can match Clarida, but let's talk about Derek Lunsford. Derek is twice as wide as Sean. So when he opens up that front lat spread and front of biceps and front relax pose, if he is in a similar condition, then he will have an edge. I mean, it's no brainer. We all know that if Derek can bring the conditioning of Sean, he can give him major run for the money. We'll see. I said this last year that Derek still doesn't have that mature density and strided, hard look. It looks like this year he's putting it together. And I don't know if he's going to make the weight. That's a good question because he looks so much bigger, outclassing his 212 division. But Derek, in a granite condition, can win the show.
And Keon Pearson. We've never seen him with this added size. He was a classic physique competitor competing at like 180 pounds. I'm sure he's going to be over 200 pounds at this. They already had the weigh-ins. I don't know what he weighed in at, but he looks so much bigger than he did when he was doing classic.
Yes, for Keon, it's the same thing. If he comes shredded, dry, conditioned, he is in the running. Guaranteed. There are some poses that he is just pretty much untouchable. But I said it many times that the stomach, midsection, lineal base is a little bit spread. So if he can control that and not make it visible, you can see it from the back poses, you can see on the side poses. So the front of the biceps is nice, vacuumed. But there are a couple of other poses that it might cost him unless he learns how to bring the lines a little bit closer together, which is some breathing technique that you can actually do that. But if he is conditioned, he is in running, guarantee.
So any wild cards, anyone do you think has a chance in the 212 of beating any of these four guys?
No, my brain is a little foggy. I don't know. Who else is?
I mean, those are obviously all the big names.
Angel Calderon. Oh my God!
From Spain.
Yeah, he is wide, thick, conditioned, striated already. So yeah, you see, if anybody is a little bit off, for sure he is passing him. And then even if they're on condition, they're not going to out-condition Angel. And then the width. Oh my God. Then there is Brazilian wonder, Luis Carrejo.
Lucas Coelho.
Coelho, yeah. He is complete. He's very confident. I mean, I don't know if he's going to crack this top 4, top 5 in his first outing, but he's very confident. Yeah. I apologize if I forgot somebody. I don't have the list right now, but my first call out, we already said it's going to be Sean and Derek and Kamal, Keon, Angel, and then whoever else was going to attract the attention of the judges.
This was actually the first show where you couldn't get the list. It wasn't available. They have all the qualified people, but there was no final list because with COVID and travel and visas, even Dan Solomon, they couldn't be 100% sure who was coming and who wasn't until everyone's here and everything. So let's move on to the last division we're going to talk about because there are 11 divisions, guys. We're not going to go over them all. We're just covering the 3 that we know the most about. Let's move on to classic physique. the 26-year-old two-time Olympia champion, Chris Bumstead. That's all he is, 26. Crazy last year, 230 pounds. Found out he could come in 10 pounds heavier. They got him, they had him a half inch taller or something when they did his height. So he could be 240 this year if he wanted to.
Well, listen, I mean, okay, not to sound any weird, but he is already one of the biggest guys in the classic division, and how can he possibly have 10 more pounds to fill up? So there is something wrong with you have to calibrate those scales and height. I don't know, especially looking at my athlete Logan Franklin, who is pretty much already capped up because he's supposed to be 221, he was 220.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Or 222 and he was 221. So there's some little discrepancy there. But regardless of that, Chris can lose the show only if he falls asleep and doesn't show up. I mean that this is going to be just as dominant, if not more, because last year I was talking about Breon and I was talking about some other people possibly out-muscling him, and he showed up on that stage. He left no doubt. So that structure is God-given. That frontal biceps with the super small waist and flaring lats, even his, relatively speaking, smaller arms, it still don't look weak. I mean, side chest pose, side frontal biceps, backdoor biceps. Backdoor biceps is a stellar shot. I mean, we've seen a video of him a couple of days ago that backdoor biceps is even improved. We were all shocked when we put the comparison photos 2019, 2020 backdoor biceps. Yeah. Like, what the hell did Ian and Chris do in that gym? Because that was completely new person. I think he's even more polished and more muscular this time. Wow. So I really, with as much excitement as I would want to bring, I said that's going to be a tough contest. Watch it, as he said today at the press conference, it's going to be probably a contest for a second place.
Because I mean, obviously we have two very, very strong challengers, more of course, but the top two challengers would be Terrence Ruffin, who was second last year, just won the Arnold Classic, and Breon Ansley. Breon's looking great. Breon dropped from second to third last year, but the condition that I've been seeing with the last few posts of his, the last few days, insane condition. Yes. Didn't he take his shirt off the press conference and pose?
Yes, and he looked fabulous. And then I also seen the comparison of backdoor biceps from the stage and now from the press conference, and he looked improved, he looked bigger, more V-tapered and more conditioned. So I hope it's going to be a competition. I really hope. But he doesn't have that width and that structure, which is visible in too many poses. So Chris is dominating, in a height and then width. Could that dense, striated muscle of Breon overtake? I doubt, but let's hope he gives him really good run for the money. Terrence, we saw him winning Arnold Classic in very good condition. I said from the back he was dry and more conditioned than from the front. I've seen new video footage and he looks like he's nailing condition, bone dry. I think that John Meadows would be super proud of him coming like this, but would that be enough to beat Chris? I really highly doubt. I mean, it's aesthetic, classic physique, but not that wow classic, and that's what CBUM has it. Alex Cabronero, I mean, we can't count him. He was second to Terrence. I even think he could have beat him, when I deeply analyzed the prejudging the finals of the Arnold Classic, Then I've seen a few days later, fuller version of Alex Cabronero, just his condition, sometimes we want to always go that extra step, let's try to get a little dry and let's be just ripped. And then you sacrifice a little bit that fullness and conditioning, which I've seen myself. I think I mentioned this one time. The best condition I ever was 94 Olympia, super dry and everything else, but I sacrificed a little bit fullness. And then I went to Joe Weider's office, 3 weeks later, and I was obviously blown up already, from eating post-contest. And he was like, Milos, why didn't you look like this at Olympia? You would be top 6, right? And then that was a moment when at first I thought, old man is talking nonsense. Yeah. But then he said, come here. And then he showed me the Polaroid and picture on the stage at Olympia. And I said, God damn, I'm nowhere as conditioned as I was there, so I thought. But you couldn't see this on a picture. And that added size made me even more aesthetic and more dominant. So this is what I see with Alex Cabronero. He's already super dry condition separated. I think he should come a little bit fuller on that stage. So that's Alex. Who else?
Lord Jones
Oh.
missed his mark a little bit at the Arnold, but that was
Lord Jones,
just a little water or condition, some peaking issue that I'm sure he could have fixed in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, and I think he did. I think I've seen some pictures that he's really, coming much drier, more separated and leaner. He doesn't need any size, God knows. So I hope to God to see him at his best, because he is that potential that everybody was raving about it. We would like to see comparison because he's similar in height maybe to Sebum. Arms crazy, side chest crazy, back. Even if it's dry, I still don't think that he has a back to match Sebum and Terrence. But from the front and the side, he would be super competitive. Danny Huonen is definitely another guy that we should look for. Very conditioned, very symmetrical aesthetic. And I don't even know what to pinpoint. It was just like, it doesn't have that wow something. He has everything. It's beautiful there. So why he's not winning? He won that New York show, but this is Olympia. It's a little bit different level. Peter Molnar from Hungary is really one of my favorites in upper body to kill for. Lower body is still needing some catching up. So I don't know if he's going to be a factor for a top 5, but it's possible.
So the last guy I want to mention, only because when he beat Logan for Texas, everyone started talking about Robert Timms because he is
How can I forget?
6'1". He's got that great back. For me, I would want to see more leg development out of him, but I don't know how much that's going to hurt him here or not. He's got a beautiful physique, and he does have that height and the width.
Listen, his upper body, everything, waist, abs, chest, shoulders, arms, back, it's out of this world.
Yeah.
And he knows how to be conditioned. He was already conditioned at the Texas show, and I think he's bringing even better condition. I said that boldly, his upper body could contest top 6 Olympia competitor in any pose. That waist to lats and shoulder differential, the quality, insertions, tie-ins, separation, deep cuts. Yeah, but legs, let's just say it looks like it belongs to 2 different people. And I know that he doesn't want to hear this, but the truth is that his legs need to come up to be contender for the title. But he kind of mastered positioning them that he can get away with it. So if he can position them like this at the frontal poses, frontal legs, frontal biceps, ab shut, he can pass. I mean, from the side, from the back, he is deadly. So I see him in contention also. Size-wise, conditioning-wise, of course, he's going to be right there next to Sebum, maybe even out-condition him, it's out-muscle him, more than likely, because he has that quality. But is this as classic as Sebum? I don't think so.
Okay. Well, there are 8 other divisions, guys. We're not going to go through them all. So many great competitors this weekend. This is our Super Bowl, the biggest event that our sport has. It's been going on since 1965. Looking forward to the 2021 edition coming up. So stay right here at musculardevelopment.com. Coverage brought to you by High-Tech Pharmaceuticals. We're going to be bringing you all the action on this YouTube channel and on musculardevelopment.com. We'll see you soon.